My name is Tessa Ssali. I'm currently a student, and my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer 6 years ago when I was 14. When I first found out, I felt a bit numb. I was in a state of denial. You always hear about cancer, but you never really think it's going to be a reality. And I remember that specific evening, me and my siblings were wondering why my mum was taking so long to come home. And when she came home and told us, there was just this numb feeling that overtook my body. But I knew that in that moment of time, I had to kind of just step up in my role in the house and be there for my siblings and also for my dad. I would walk into his room and see him quite upset. It was definitely a lot, but I knew in that moment that I had to be strong for her, which was my main priority. The support I needed the most was just someone to talk to, which I found to be quite difficult because naturally I would go to my mum, but I didn't really want to burden her. And I'm aware that she probably would never have thought that, but I knew in that exact moment it was probably scarier for her than it was for me. So for quite a long time, I didn't really have anyone to talk to. And then I found the courage to speak to my best friend, Blessing. I think some people thought that maybe I needed advice, but in that moment and in that sort of situation, you just kind of want somebody to listen to you and just hear all the thoughts that you have ruminating in your mind. It's almost like there are so many things you want to say, but you're so scared to say them because you're scared of how you're going to be perceived. That element of vulnerability really did scare me. I didn't want people to kind of think of me as somebody who was depressed or shallow because of anything that had happened. And I was only 14 when all this had happened, so I was doing my GCSEs. I think in regards of people saying things that were quite negative, it was probably just my classmates. I didn't really tell them, but I would hear what they would say. It almost just made me feel like my life was a bit of a joke to them as well. You know, that everyone always says that you always have 100 issues until you have a health issue and then you only have one issue. As they're saying these things, I can only think about my current issue that's happening. So not that these jokes were ever funny to me before, but then and there they kind of just felt a bit more direct, and I kind of had this anxiety that they were laughing at me. I didn't have the courage to kind of speak up because I didn't want them to perceive me differently or kind of, I guess, show me sympathy, which would which would just basically reinforce the situation that I was in then. One message I have to my mom is I'm so grateful for her, well, to her for being so strong and being there for us. I can't even imagine what that was like for her, but just her resilience and her strength is the reason why I'm so optimistic these days and every day. It takes a lot, and not only was it just that, but her faith in God reinforced and made me realize and really just told me that God is always there for me. Regardless of whatever happens in my life, I know that the same God that was there for her is the same God that will be there for me now and was there for me back then. It was very easy for me to feel alone, and even though I never really spoke to her about how I felt, I knew that I didn't have to say anything and she knew exactly how I felt. And I think some things just go unspoken, and that unconditional love that you showed me really just helped me without saying anything at all.